Thank you. Because I just think I should record this because it's 2 weeks since we met. Well, the second we missed one last week. Today is it 22nd, I think,
Yeah.
or it's the 22nd of July. Goodness, time is flying. And because we've all been away, there's been such a build-up of things on that amazing Saturday morning group. Meryl, do you manage to get to see any of the stuff that's there?
Sorry, from when?
Yeah, so their videos are put up, and there's people who stop sort of clean labels, and somebody put up something about I made this list on my WhatsApp now of all of these various, and Andre's put a few training videos up. I don't manage to get to see many of these things, Meryl, like yourself. Yes, I did have an amazing holiday. I did no schoolwork in the holiday, and this week I worked almost to the point of where I'm going to sleep the whole weekend now to catch up on the. I am one of those people, and I think all of us actually are like this. Don't get enough sleep. We have to catch it up. Okay, so without much more ado, then I'm just going to run through this little list, and then we'll open it up. Bob, I'm so pleased to see you here as well. And apologies from Andre, and I'm sure that other people will probably listen to this during the week. So the last week has been a very significant week in the year's calendar of the company. We don't always get informed as to, it's not always in the same month of the year. So we've had the annual price adjustment, the euphemism for the price increase. It's always a little bit of a shock to the system, but actually the price of butter also went up and nobody even told us. So I always put it into the context of the world that we are living in. And it's just that unfortunate. And if we were going to maintain the quality and the amazing products that we get, that's the way it is. I haven't put onto the list, but let me quickly mention it now. The issue of products that are missing. I will forward, I don't think it's been put onto the group. So there is a video which has come from Drew, not a video, a message to a private person. And I'll just jump down the list because I'm talking about products particularly and their availability. So what has happened with the Pro Vitality? I don't know if any of you have heard this, but if you haven't, if you have, just forgive me repeating it. So this SAPRA, who Bob, you know more about than we do, it's just a nightmare, have complained about the combination of gel and hard tablets and capsules in one sachet. And so as we speak at this moment, the multi is being reformulated into a soft capsule, and that will make it all right. So it won't be available for quite a few more months, apparently. I'm not going to speak too loudly about some of our other products which have got combos of, so obviously that will impact then onto the Formula 4 Plus. I don't think how it will impact the Daily Vitality Pack. Maybe we should just keep quiet and they won't know about it. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so that's the story of the Pro Vitality. I did put up a few ideas, which I know people in the team have already activated in the past with the last product shortage. Then there are, each thing can be bought individually. You can sell them individually, or you can repack yourself. I put gloves on and I use tweezer kind of things, or teaspoons, little plastic Ziploc bags, works very effectively. If your customer is happy to accept it like that. Okay, then the other thing is not the Neolife Shake, the Nutri-Shake, which people are hankering for, and that also is still in process because one of the ingredients became unavailable on the international market because of all the logistic issues, I think, and there was a problem in the United States, particularly, although as I always understood, NutriShake was being put together here in South Africa, but they obviously import some of the ingredients, and there was an ingredient that was used in baby milk products, and I think that's what caused the main breakdown with NutriShake. So we just watch that space and let's see what happens, whether they bring it back or not. We'll see in the future. Then just to go through my list, congratulations to Bjorn's team, and particularly to Heidi, who has sponsored a distributor this month called Karen Lloyd. So we welcome Karen, and I look forward to getting to know Karen as time passes. The sports ambassador thing was quite exciting last week. We have DSTV at the moment. We get it once a year for Wimbledon. So you just on an app. And so Rob has been watching some of the rugby. And so we know that there's big South African rugby. And by the way, the South African Women's International World Cup soccer tournament is taking place at the moment. So the sports ambassador, Kurtley Arendse, who's in the Springboks, was named as man of the match, and he is one of Near Life sports ambassadors, happily using our products. I don't know if anybody wants to use that for their own marketing purposes. Right, we have got till the 31st. If you haven't booked for the what they used to call the convention, now called the Impact Summit, prices will go up seriously on the 31st of July. So that's going to be my focus this week, is to phone my regulars who like to come to the convention. It is a life-changing event. Meryl, are you coming up again this year? Don't.
No, I'm not. It's very difficult being in the term time, and I can't afford it.
All right. Okay. Well, they'll definitely play. There'll definitely be videos available, and I'm interested to find out more about this Dr. Susan Beck, and to hear her. One of the people who regularly listens or comes to this meeting, Tina put up a question about bile about 2 weeks ago, and everybody went dead silent. Bob, maybe you can just now give us some insights on bile. I think it's obviously got something to do with the gallbladder and stomach, and probably indigestion. And my immediate go-to product for any of those sort of issues is acidophilus. Would you like to come in there, Bob?
I didn't read the comments. What was the comment?
So the person, Tina, just put up a message and said, what do we use for when people say they've got a problem with bile?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Yeah, because it's.
Well, think about it. You don't have to put an answer now.
Yeah.
I think we all went, oh, ooh. Yes. Okay. Then iron was the next one that people were asking about, and so we do not have an iron supplement on its own at the moment. I have a feeling it may also be returned to our range, but we don't have it in the range at the moment, and I don't know why. And then the next thing should have been separated was eye cysts and dry eye syndrome. So maybe we can build some knowledge on those things. Andre did put up a whole lot of information about the eye issue. And one of the things that we often suggest to people, and I have even done this, and Rob, you should probably do this, is to break open a vitamin E capsule and put a couple of drops of vitamin E into your eyes. It works marvelously. I've done it frequently myself. And then you chew up the capsule afterwards with the residue in it. All right, I'm rushing through this list on my phone. I've spoken to you about Pro Vitality. The price increase I've mentioned, and we've just got to roll with it and just adjust ourselves to it. it also opens up the opportunity to encourage people to join as wholesale customers, get their own website, become independent of you as far as they can be, to do their own online orders. We train our customers, actually, so it's up to us how much we support them. There will always be those lovely people who don't want to go online. They just want to phone you and you arrange delivery and get the product to them. With many of those, I know that Bjorn has gone the member route, and I have done that often over the years, and more recently as well. And it was very, very nice last month when somebody in America shifted from member into distributor mode. So just to mention about America, by the way, that is how they're mostly building the business over there, from what I can make out. Get people joined up as members and onto auto orders. So then automatically every month they don't have to redo their go online stuff unless they want to change something on there. So we also have somebody in the bigger network who has got that going as well, which is really very interesting to see how it works. Just as an observation, in 2019, when we were in the USA, we never saw this, but the people we were staying with, their niece had it in her kitchen, a button, which if she ran out of black bags, she pushed the button in the kitchen, and within 12 hours or less, the product arrived at her door. I mean, so it has become an incredibly automated society over there. We obviously are nowhere near that. But if you have contacts in those part of the world, that part of the world, be aware of it and encourage people to do that. Andre put up an Eric Warra. I love Eric Warra. I haven't had time to listen to that. I will do that this weekend, and I encourage anybody else to go back into the Saturday morning group and to go and listen to that. She also put up one which was a personal challenge one at the moment, personally. And Amiral, I think you and I, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When we are back into term mode and things are going frantic, we have to manage our time and find time outside of our daily work time to catch up on some of these things. So I usually am very targeted on what I look at, but I do, Saturday is my near life deliberate day, and I do try to catch up on things then. So all of us here are working on other things and in jobs, etc. So I give that to you as a suggestion to manage your time, to keep your own personal development going. Bob, you gave me the name of Silver Mind Control, and I've seen it now online, but I haven't actually yet also activated that, but that I will be going. I've got it on my list and I won't forget it. There was also a video put up about clean labels, and I have heard on the radio that this is being discussed. So that is something else I think we need to develop and discuss more on over the next few weeks, and to look at teaching ourselves and to become more socially active in that area. You know, you don't have to be walking along a highway carrying a banner to be socially active. The thing I heard on the radio was that they were trying to get legislation to make sure that what's available in the product is put on the front of the bottle. And we all know that these bottles are the writing is so small, it's almost impossible to read them. I just see, whenever I see an E, I stop, I don't take it. Okay, so that's something for us to develop into the future. And then I put up this little Alon Reyes. Now, I've been following Alon Reyes for years. He's in Joburg based. He's got a company called Reyes Corp, and he's an entrepreneur, and I think he does entrepreneurship training and stuff, but he resonates with me. And I think let's just open it up for a little bit of discussion here, or you can start thinking about it. just looking at the time, or maybe I should do the 3 and 30 now. Let's just do Alon Reyes, and then I will finish off with the 3 and 30. So Andre put up a thing about how, and I know who she's talking about, some person who had a complete burnout, couldn't get out of bed, that you know the scenario. It's not unusual, and got her onto the Pro Vitality, and blow me down, the woman got her energy back, and then stopped using the product. Oh dear. We've all been there. Okay, so Alon Reyes says, entrepreneurship is the art of balancing being extremely patient and extremely aggressive and trying to move things forward. It's the art of balancing being extremely patient and extremely aggressive in trying to move things forward. Any comments? What do you think, Rob?
It's very difficult. You never know when to push, and you never know when to wait. Can you hear me?
It is an interesting one. And you know, when we're doing it on a face-to-face level, so for me, it's a lot of the time it's intuition has to kick in. But we can see that advertisers, it's worth actually just watching advertisements and just seeing how aggressively they repeat their message so often. I wonder if the repetition wouldn't be a way. So this is just coming to me as I'm talking now. So we all know if somebody gets aggressive with us, we switch off completely. We do not like it. So he is correct there that aggression doesn't really work. I was interested last night one of the things I do on a Friday sometimes, not very often, but every now and then when I'm really exhausted after the week, I like to watch that doctor, what's it called, Rob? The doctor show on, it was a very, very well-known
Dr. House.
Dr. House. And last night, the one I watched, the patient, obviously there's a teenager dying, and the mother is being very, very reluctant to take the suggested protocol, so treatment, whatever the doctors are using. And all the 3 men doctors, each one they use different techniques or to try to persuade her to let him, because and interestingly enough, this episode was a poisoning. It was and the poisoning had come through the clothing, environmental poisoning. They had a list of antidotes, but they needed to give the correct one. So the whole show was dealing with trying to find out which poison. Was it a household poison? Was it? They even checked washing powders. It was very, very interesting, and eventually they worked out which one it was. But what struck me was that the 3. Now, and I'm sorry, this is coming over as sounding quite gender. What's the word? Anti-gender, anti-male. Sorry, but the 3 male doctors each used a different technique. And finally, they sent the woman doctor in. And she, at the end of the day, because it was a life and death situation, she says to the woman, okay, I'm out of here. It's your choice. And she was very aggressive. But we're not in a life and death situation. But it was just very interesting to see how we can use different methods especially when we see people who are really, really, we know this will make a huge difference to their situation, as in Andre's case. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I suppose being an entrepreneur and also just looking at the way people react to all of these different things is that, each situation you've got to take it in on its merit and determine, because certainly I know that if people start getting aggressive with me in terms of pushing and hard selling and carrying on, I'm very often put off. But there are times where it's actually necessary to do it. So it's a matter of actually assessing the situation, I think, at the end of the day, and seeing where you're at and with the people and also the character you're dealing with. Some people just love it. But in business, as I say, it's more, I think, a lot of the time being being more decisive than aggressive, and actually focusing and going for what the end goal, and moving along the path as you see it necessary. So sometimes it is necessary, but you've got to be careful, because people are, as I say, and with hard sell as well, there are a lot of people who don't. I mean, a lot of these guys, it's like, just thinking about when I travel through airports quite a lot now, and these guys, just trying to stop you and hard sell stuff all the time. I'm really not interested. Aside from the fact that it's irrelevant what they're promoting, but it just puts me off completely. And that was, as I said, you got to try and weigh up the characters you're dealing with, because some people are actually quite okay with it, but others are definitely not. So yeah, I don't know. It's my 2 cents, I suppose, from what I have seen.
No, excellent. So what I'm going to put in there, and I think it did come up a little bit on the group, was is to build the relationship and build the trust.
Yeah.
The moment the person starts trusting you, they'll trust what you're saying about the product.
Yeah.
And
Very
so
important.
another suggestion, and I think Meryl, Bob, and myself, we can all do this, is to start getting our own newsletters going. There is so much information out there, but you will be fed by the people you are engaging with. So bile, I need to put that into a little thing on a newsletter, do my research, upgrade my own knowledge.
I'll give you a bit of information just now. It's quite interesting, but yeah, I'll give you a little bit of information. But it's also important to try and work out what was causing the problem, whether what they were experiencing and what they wanted to do about it. But I can give you some guidelines. But it's more important to understand the background as to why it's happening.
And that, Bob, sums it up. It's the relationship with the person. It's not a 15-minute doctor's appointment. And let's give you this. And we're not diagnosing. We are not doctors. And I put that in, please, huge letters as a disclaimer. But you build the relationship with the person. And then actually when they go to their doctor, they can ask better questions themselves. If we can help people to build their own information. Okay, so I think that was really good food for thought for me personally, and I hope that has stimulated everybody else. And then quickly before we go back to bile, Bob, let's look at 3 and 30. Okay, we all know that this is our challenge, to build our own networks. And the company have got a earn free product credits. I just want to correct something that I had said to someone else on the group or privately this week. If you want to get your 3 and 30 pin, you have to, I will share this for you. I can't show it to you. It's on the back office. There's the whole, let me just share it now. I can share it. Sorry, I did. Can you open up the sharing, Rob? Let's go. Here we go. Okay. Hang on. It's gone off. I wonder if actually this whole thing was affected. We've got load shedding at the moment, and I think maybe that's what affected my thing. I needed to stop and start again. Okay, just logging in. Hope the login works. Okay, this is the back office. And on here, if you go down 3 and 30 incentive, there's something here. I saw it earlier and I thought I had shared it. 330 incentive. Here's the flyer. It should be coming up. No, it didn't come up. I got the wrong thing. Sorry. Too much information here. So I'm just going to let that go.
So the next tab, Monica.
No,
There you go.
All right. Okay. So this is the flyer. I know it's hard being there, finding it still hard. But as I said to my classes this week when I was giving back their exams, poor darlings, I said to them, don't wish that it was easier, wish that you would get better. So they all said, oh, that's a good one, ma'am. But I do believe it. Okay. I've been told that many times when I felt like I was in a failure mode. So I'm not saying all of you are. Okay. So amplify your impact and income. We want to reward and recognize you for helping others get started with Neolife. This is the best thing you can do. One of the best things, blah, blah, blah. The more club members and promoters. So America, they use the word promoter for distributor. So this is obviously the American version. So there might be a slight variation with ours, but it's also you can earn 10 points worth of product, which would be a super 10 or anything within the 10 points, and you can accumulate them. So you could, if you got 30 of them, get yourself a Neolife shake or something like that, which is really, it's a very nice little incentive. I want you to look at the picture. There's you, 1, 2, 3. So you need to get yourself with 3 new front number 1 people below you. I would draw it, I would stick it up on your fridge, and I would just look at it regularly, because you have to start really studying this and working out how to do it. So, but you've got to personally sponsor 3 new starts in a sales month, and at least 1 must be a promoter. Now, I don't know if that's the case here in South Africa. I think it must be 3 people. All 3 must be joined as distributors. But I'm not going to, I'll clarify that on the group just now. And then as part of this, what the company is giving is, and there is still time, although it's one hell of a push. Trying to find myself back to my Zoom meeting, which I can't. Okay, I must stop the share. That's what I must do. So if you were wanting to do this, look, the good part of it is that the first thing that matters with it is that your network starts growing again. Then the second thing is that you can earn the free product. And the third thing is, if you can do it 3 times between now and October, you can get to the dinner for free before the convention. Meryl, you've already decided you're not coming, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I would still just keep it in your head, even 1 a month. I like to work with numbers. That's just me, okay? And I keep a count in my head as to where I am on these various incentives. So I think that's me done for today. So Bob, have you got something to add for us, please?
You want to talk a little bit about bile quickly?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, just to understand, the bile is obviously something that it actually comes from the liver. It's stored in the gallbladder, but and when you look at its main functions, then you can maybe begin to try and understand or work out a little bit more what's going on, because the main function of your bile is basically to break down your fat into fatty acids, but it also has a role in removing some of the toxins like hemoglobin and the blood breakdown products. So it's all about it, more looking towards what's happening from the liver perspective. And it's quite important when you're talking to somebody just to try and get some idea of what is happening, because when you look at what could often cause it, and because easy for everybody to, I suppose, understand, we all know that if you overusing alcohol, your liver is going to take strain, and that's one of the causes. You could have a bit of a blockage, you could have some cancer, and there could also be some other kind of toxins around. So it's it's just good to understand, you know, when somebody says bile, is it coming back into the, you know, the system? How are they experiencing this bile? What is the thing? And simple things that, you know, people can normally do. You know, it's just, you know, making sure that obviously get rid of, if there is something like alcohol. I mean, the other thing that obviously women will know is that, you know, you can get some of the bile reflux when, you know, as a result of the morning sickness and in pregnancy, any of those things that might push it back into the stomach, or into the, rather back into the esophagus. That's when they'll begin to sense something's going on. But, you know, things like fruit and vegetables, and also making sure that we're eating sufficient fiber and so on, is very important. And just making sure the liver's working properly. So if we've got a product that's going to work, like, you know, from a perspective of phospholipids, and just improve a bit of the function of the liver, that's going to be helpful. So, and it's just to be cautious of the fact that you know, there can be some fairly serious causes of bile, but that's why I say you need to just understand or know a little bit more. And always, you know, if it is that there's something that seems to be fairly sinister going on, let them go and rather see a doctor, and let the doctor work out what's going on. Then you can maybe support them from that perspective in terms of products, and looking at eating, you know, correctly, and making sure that things like, you know, you're getting sufficient fiber. And the fiber is because if you do have a blockage in the stomach, you know, you're constipated and so on, that's also a possibility that could cause the problem. And that's why we talk about fiber, and making sure your stomach health is good, your gut health is good. You often remove a lot of the problem if you're able to do that. No.
Well, in those 3 minutes, that was amazing. And we come back to what keep us in this company is first of all, thank you, Bob. That was the knowledge that we gain, and to help us in terms of our own personal health status, and to learn what we do wrong and how we correct it with eating. Yeah. I've always loved when Andre says your body is a self-healing organism, and that issue of fiber has also been recurring in my life this week, but I'm not going to go into details now. So I think that could be a nice topic for next time, to maybe look at what products we have in terms of fiber, and maybe we could probably do something on IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, because that has been popping up in conversations that I've been having with people quite a lot recently. Thank you, Bob. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I don't at the moment, but I think one of the things that you might also at some stage look at is just, you know, when you talk about IBS and fiber and all of these things, and a lot of what is coming out, you know, and I mean, just this whole thing, you know, is that the starting point that most of us use for healing people is, you know, let's look at, you know, what you're eating, and allowing your body to do what it's so well made to do, you know, and where a lot of that source, a lot of that start comes from as well, is just looking at gut health, and, you know, some basic things that we can do with our products, and also just with simple things that we can eat to improve gut health. Because the thing I think is one of the biggest causes of all of our health issues, as well as, you know, just basic stomach discomforts and the IBS and all these other things that we're picking up in, you know, at the moment, is a result of a lot of the toxins and stuff we're getting in the food we're eating, and just what's happening around us. And by simply making, you know, some of those changes in terms of just, you know, trying to focus a bit more on getting sufficient fiber, and, you know, trying to improve the microbiome in your system and the microbiota, then you're going to have a far healthier gut. And therein lies you know, you're talking immunity, you're talking your moods, you're talking your hormone control, you're talking all of those things which come from that point.
What a perfect ending to this meeting. Perfect ending.